Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Sunday. Yes, it is Sunday, May the 11th, 2025. And yes, another beautiful morning here in the Macedon Ranges. I'll just see a little bit in the back. I know I do this every day, but can you get anywhere better to live in the world? Fair income, just beautiful. This way, buddy. Currently on Honour Avenue in Mount Macedon, Victoria. Just a beautiful place. A little bit chilly this morning, but it's all good. You don't mind a little bit of chilliness, if that's the word, when you get such a beautiful sunny morning. All right, on to the boxing. On this day, back in 1980, Matthew Saad Muhammad defended his WBC light heavyweight title against, who did he defend against? Louis Purgold, I think it says here, and stopped him in the 5th round. That was in Canada, Halifax, Canada, beautiful place. In 1988, Genaro Hernandez defeated Carlos Gerena on points to defend his 130-pound title. In 2013, I don't remember this one, Augustin Ramos Milan. Oh, hang on. Sorry, that was in Mexico, sorry. Adrian Hernandez defended his light flyweight title by beating Ieda Cardoza on points. 2019, Miguel Berchel knocked out Francisco Vargas in the 6th round for the WBC 130-pound title. And way back in 1977, Ken Norton knocked out the great white hope, Duane Bobick, in 1 round. I don't remember that fight. I remember watching the fight many years after the fact. I think I was about 3 or 4 years old at the time when the fight took place, but still a little bit of thing of legend these days because people joke about, with the great white hopes. After that was Jerry Cooney in 1982, but back then it was Duane Bobick, and he was brutally knocked out by Kenny Norton, as I said, in 1 round. A little bit of talk about the Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora card. It looks like, there's some possible fights that have been being thrown up, which could make this a very, very attractive card. We've all already spoken about Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios being the main event. I think that's being confirmed now that will be the main event. Tszyu versus Fundora 2 will be the co-main. But they're also talking about Isaac Pitbull Cruz being on there fighting, was it Fierro? He had a really good fight with him. Was it earlier this year? I think it was or late last year. It was a ripper fight. Well, they're looking at getting that on the card as well. So have Pitbull on there as well. But the other one they're talking about, which I think would be absolutely awesome, is Yanibek Alimkhanuly getting on there and fighting Carlos Adames in a unification fight. So if that's the case, we've got ourselves a card, ladies and gentlemen, I should say. So what a card that would be. So you'd have Pacquiao and Barrios as the main, Tszyu Fundora 2 as the co-main, Yanibek and Carlos Adames underneath that, and then Isaac Cruz and Fierro. I think it's Angel Fierro on to probably start the card. So that is a ripper night of boxing if that is the case. And as I said the other day, it looks like it's going to be the MGM Grand, not the T-Mobile Arena. I've still got doubts about the whole Manny Pacquiao thing though, if I'm being honest. 46 years of age. We all loved Manny Pacquiao. We loved what he was. And I can't help but think back to the Ugas fight. What was it, 4 years ago? And how bad he looked in that fight. I mean, there's the prime Manny would have just made mincemeat of Ugas, would have played with him, probably put him away, or won a very lopsided decision. I just don't know what we're going to get with Manny. We know what we're going to get with Tszyu Fundora. We know what we're going to get with Cruz and Fierro, and I suppose the Yanibek and Adames fight, you sort of know what you're going to get. That's going to be, that if it does happen, will be a ripper fight. And we could have a champion with 3 belts, which would be fantastic. But yeah, the Pacquiao situation, it looks great on a poster. Pacquiao versus Barrios world title fight, but again, he's 46 years of age. Now, I've sort of read different things and watched different things, and people saying, well, you know, George Foreman did it at 45, and more notably, Bernard Hopkins did it at what, 48 or 49, I think he was. The difference between those two, though, is that George Foreman, yes, he was in a few wars over the years, but he had that 10-year gap in between his careers. So he gave his body and mind and everything a really good chance to heal and get away from boxing. And he come back, he was fresh-ish for a 45-year-old. But he hadn't taken a lot of beatings over the journey. Similar with Bernard Hopkins. A very, very smart fighter, very clever fighter. The boxing IQ of few before him and after him. And he definitely didn't take a lot of beatings over the years. Bernard Hopkins, he had his faculties and just hadn't been in that many wars. Been in a lot of tough fights, but not a lot of wars where he'd taken a lot of punishment, physically and mentally, where Pacquiao has. He's been in a lot of wars. Even the fights that he's won, and won clearly, even a lot of them, he's taken a lot of punishment. And that's what sort of worries me a little bit about him. Not so much his mental state, because I think by all accounts he's still very sharp. That's probably not what I'm sort of looking at. It's the physical aspect. He's had a lot of fights. He used to fight regularly as well, but those wars, even back in the day with Marquez and Barrero and Morales, and then moving up in weight, even those wins over Margarito and Cotto, and tough fights, really, really tough fights. Not so much the Mayweather fight, of course, but I could rattle off probably about another 10 if I had the fights in front of me. But what Pacquiao are we going to get? I've got a feeling, look, even if, I think I said the other day, even if he turns up only 60 or 70% of what he sort of was, and even at 46 years of age, if he was going to pick a champion to come back and fight, it is Mario Barrios. That's him, because very limited. I still don't know how the WBC are sanctioning this fight with a straight face. But, good luck to Manny. It'd be great to be there. I'm still up in the air about what I'm going to do. But I tell you what, geez, if I added that Janabek and Adames fight on there, that would just be the icing on the cake, wouldn't it? It'd be good enough just with Tim and Sebastian Fundora. And that fight too throws up a lot of question marks, doesn't it? I think a lot of Aussies have just pretty much just penciled it in as a win. While, we saw what Tim did in the first fight, in the 2 rounds that he was not cut. So, of course, he's just going to go out and pulverise Fundora. You saw what he did against Joey Spencer. Yeah, just a word to the wise is just be a little careful about just thinking that's going to happen. I still think Tim wins, but Fundora is a very, very good fighter, a very underrated fighter. He looks all over the place. Looks like he doesn't really do anything well at all, does he? He's just tall. Doesn't look like he boxes that well. He's not really a big puncher. He doesn't look overly skilled, in my opinion, but he just gets the job done. Now, I know obviously his size and reach and everything has a lot to do with it, but he gets the job done, and he has done so far, even against Tim. Even though he had a blindfold on, he still won. But as I said, I still think Tim wins the fight, but I don't think it's going to be a walkover at all. So anyway, if you are looking to go and you might have needed another reason to book your flights and your accommodation, then that might be it. The tickets aren't out yet. That might be probably a wise thing to do, by the way. Just wait till the tickets come out. Get your ticket first and then book your flights. I'm sure there'll be some specials coming up pretty soon, by the way, but just keep a lookout. I'll keep a lookout for you and let you know if that's the case. But good thing about it, though, I think the tickets should be reasonably priced as well. I was at the one last year at the T-Mobile Arena, and I think it might have been about $400 or $500 US, but I was only about sort of 10 or 15 rows back. But if I'm going to actually give you some more advice, don't maybe get on the floor. Get up in the stands. You can't really see that much on the floor. Everyone says how great it is, and it's probably more an ego thing to be seen on the floor. I won't be doing that again. I'm going up in the stands. About sort of midway up. Tier 2 is probably the way to go. I'm not sure, actually, they'll probably have the whole arena open anyway. I'm not sure whether this card, or maybe because Pacquiao's on the card, they will get a capacity crowd. But I remember being there when Jeff Horn fought Terence Crawford, and they only had sort of half the arena available. It was still a great atmosphere, but yeah, as I said, for the fact that Pacquiao's on the card will probably create massive attention onto the card, and I think, what is it? So July 19. So it's going to be hot over there too. That's the only other thing. If you're going to go, she's going to be in the 40s every day. All right, what have we got going on here? Okay. All right, another card that's getting closer. George Kambosos and Richardson Hitchens. I see George is over in New York at the moment. I watched his press conference yesterday. Geez, he speaks well. He's improving all the time. He used to be a little bit cringe, old George, but with some of the stuff he would say. But I really thought he was really well measured yesterday. I thought he spoke really well. Even when he faced off with Hitchens, I thought it was... Look, I'm sure it'll get a lot more spicy as the fight gets closer, but I thought yesterday they were respectful. You could sort of see that, they were both on the best behaviour. George is a pro at this, and I think you could actually see him just school Hitchens just a little bit on how to do the face-off. You can see that Hitchens was a little nervous, a little sensitive, I suppose, but George just very well composed and just nodding and smiling. He had all the nice little comebacks. And Hitchens, look, as I said, I think he was a little bit nervous, and the things he was sort of saying, I didn't see, they had the mic'd up little thing between the two, and I just think he's got a little bit to learn, Richardson Hitchens, when it comes to the trash talking. He didn't really have a lot to offer, and everything that he did throw out, George had an immediate reply. And I mean, you got to remember, George has done this against Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, two of the best trash talkers out there, especially Teofimo Lopez, and he more than matched it with those guys. So I don't think Richardson Hitchens is going to worry him outside the ring. Inside the ring's a little bit different, I got to say. It's going to be a big effort for George to beat Richardson Hitchens. Can he do it? Of course, absolutely he can. It's boxing. It's one-on-one, and you got to be in it to win it, as they say. I think he's a live chance, and I really, respect the fact that he's always up for these fights. But yeah, look, it will be a tough one for George. But as I said, he's a live chance, and look, if he fights the right fight, he can get the job done. Liam Paro, I thought when he fought Hitchens for the first 3 rounds, I think it was. I think when he fought smart, Liam, and I thought he won probably the first 2 or 3 rounds. I thought he fought really, really well, and then sort of lost his way. I don't think you're going to see that with George. George is a lot more experienced than what Liam is. Liam's obviously more experienced now. He's been in against Matthias and Hitchens, but I just think George, even though he hasn't won some of those big fights, the fact that he's been in them, and just in the build-up, just in the ring itself, especially at Madison Square Garden. I know it's only the small arena, but I think George will handle the occasion okay. And if he boxes the right way, now what is the right way, I suppose, will be up to him and his camp and what plan they devise. But look, all these fighters are beatable. I suppose what I'm trying to say is if George turns up and he's prepared and has a right game plan, and maybe it works early, he at least has the discipline and experience to stick to it for the entire fight, like he did with Lopez. And it'd be great to see him bring home that IBF belt. He'd, of course, join Jaya Pataya, maybe Andrew Maloney later in the year, maybe Tim Tszyu in a couple of months' time. So all of a sudden, the wheels are rolling on Aussie boxing again, aren't they? So, but either way, the fact that all these fights are actually lined up is fantastic as well. Wasn't looking that great at the start of the year, was it? And all of a sudden, we've got 3 guys coming up in world title fights, and the girls as well doing great things too. So, so the build-up has begun. It's only a month away, so they left it sort of a little bit to the last minute, but yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really good fight. And I think, as I said, George is a live chance to win that one. And now, yesterday I read something about TKO Boxing. Now, I think we've said that they're going to promote the Canelo Crawford fight. Dana White actually said he wasn't really happy about it, to be honest. He's very thankful for getting the opportunity to promote the fight, but he said he doesn't like stadium fights. He said they're just a pain in the ass, so he's not overly keen on doing it. But of course, this is the big one for him to get him started, and they're going to promote it. But he did say that first of all, it's not going to be called TKO Boxing once it's actually established properly. This is just a sort of working title at the moment. So I'm not sure what it's going to be called after this, but I'm sure it'll be, well, I actually approve of that, by the way. I think TKO Boxing is a stupid name. If they're going to at least call it something, they call it KO Boxing, not TKO Boxing. You either get knocked out or you don't. None of this technical knockout stuff. But but they did say they're going to do 12 events per year, including 4 big events. I'm assuming it's like a UFC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. I think that's what they're talking about. But 12 events. So at least they're starting to get organised. I'm still very pessimistic about whether it works. I think it will work as far as being a success for what it's trying to achieve is as far as the UFC concept. The reason I don't think it'll work entirely is because they're just not going to have the best fighters fighting for TKO or whatever it's called. As simple as that. Well, you got Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya around and Frank Warren and Top Rank. It's just not going to happen. So yeah, I think it'll be a good organisation, but I just don't think it will hit the mark entirely because, as I said, it just hasn't got all the elite fighters in it fighting each other. So anyway, that's what's happening with them. And also I did read too that I think Top Rank are about to announce their next deal, TV deal. I think it's July, the ESPN deal comes up, the broadcast deal. So I think from all accounts it could be Netflix. So whatever it is, I mean, they will survive. I think Bob Arum of Top Rank is the CEO, of course. He said that they'll probably do even more shows than what they do now, and it might even be across multiple platforms. So those people that thought that Top Rank, including Oscar De La Hoya, by the way, thought that once his deal was up with ESPN, they'd just sort of roll over and die. Looks like they're preparing to sort of rebirth, go again. A little bit like Frank Warren, actually, isn't it? I mean, he was looked like he was sort of done and dusted with Queensberry. They weren't sort of doing too much, nothing big anyway. And all of a sudden, they've sort of relaunched themselves. And now could Top Rank follow suit? Just makes it even more interesting, doesn't it? I love it. It's because at the moment, it's all about Oscar and Eddie. Queensberry, as I said, Queensberry have really upped their pace, and they actually beat Matchroom in the 5x5 last year, 5-0. And if Top Rank starts to re-enter those big events again and the big pay-per-views, geez, it's only the only people that benefit are the fight fans, which would be fantastic. All right, speaking of fight cards, I haven't really mentioned it too much, but on Wednesday night is the Sam Goodman, was it Cesar Vaca? Is that his name? I'll bring up the card here. Oh, I've lost it. No Limit, where are we? Big card too, 11 fights on that card. So who's he? Cesar Vaca he's fighting, and on the undercard, Harry Garside, Charlie Bell. This is a televised card. Tuisi Uvasuatu, Stephen Ivic, Bonnie Fathi, Wade Ryan, Charlie Kazi, Patrick Valla. That is the main card. On the undercard, Jason Fawcett, Alex Lual, Ahmed Redda, Patrick Lilly, Truella versus Tahiki, Jasmine Parr against Thai, and then a couple others to open the card. So 11 fights in total. So look, as far as boxing content goes, okay, yep, it's going to be good for a Wednesday night, I suppose. But geez, this has probably got to be the most underwhelming pay-per-view that I've probably seen. Actually, I'll take that back. Probably the Sam Goodman and Mark Schlieb's fight is probably the least deserving pay-per-view fight that I've probably ever seen, ever, on a main platform, that is, not these streaming services. Look, it's hard to get up for this card. I mean, and I don't want to rubbish No Limit too much. They're trying to do the best for Aussie boxing, give people opportunities on their cards, and I get that. But when you're charging, I think it's only $50, which is probably one good thing. But I'm just looking at this card, and it's really hard to get up for it. Cesar Vaca, I've watched a fair bit of him on YouTube, and look, he's capable, but it's just a typical sort of Mexican fighter. He'll come forward. Yes, he'll try and get in close. He'll rip, he'll hook, he'll do all that sort of stuff. Typical Mexican warrior, no doubt. The problem is very, very limited. Very limited. It's different when the real elite Mexican fighters fight that way. They can be effective when they get in close. Wasn't really impressed at all by Cesar Vaca, and I think Sam Goodman's just going to pretty much win a pretty dull, is it a 12-round decision? Whatever it is. I think it's a 12-rounder. No, it's 10. I think he'll just win a shutout 10-round decision. Then we've got Harry Garside and Charlie Bell. They've built Charlie Bell up a little bit. What is he, 5-1, 5-2 is he? Whatever it is. 5-1, 2 KOs, but geez, I've looked up his records. I think he's had one fight with a guy that was 4-2. The rest of his opponents combined have had a record of 8 wins and 35 losses. Now, I don't like to really delve into records and everything and sort of ridicule them and strip them down and go, mate, how you doing? But in this case, they were building Charlie Bell up a fair bit, so I thought I'd do a little bit of research, and not good. I mean, he has been beaten. That one loss was a guy that was 2-5 that he lost to. And the guys that he've beaten have been, their records have been horrendous. As I said, 8 wins, 35 losses combined, except for the one guy. So, I don't know. Like I said, I don't like to really strip down people's records. But in this case, they're building Charlie Bell up to be a serious threat for Harry Garside. Well, this has just got one-sidedness written all over it. This won't be competitive. Harry Garside will just win clearly, either on points, a shutout decision, or maybe even a stoppage, who knows. And then the rest of the card, I mean, Tawisi versus Watu and Steve Nivic should be an okay fight. Look, I won't bother going through the whole card. I'm just not excited about it. But having said that, I think I am going to buy it. I mean, when you're giving feedback and doing these types of things on YouTube channels, I think you've got to at least watch these cards in full. So if I get it, I'll probably do a live watch along, and at least give everyone out there live updates on what's happening. I'm going to do it under duress. These are the things us YouTubers do for you out there. So I'll probably get it. But the one fight on there that did stick out to me was Jazzy Parr. Now, this is a fighter that No Limit were obviously looking to really get behind. They'd sort of poached her from Ace Boxing, because that's where Jazzy had done all their fighting in the past. So I looked like they'd sort of poached her from there to maybe start building up their female stocks. And she, of course, was upset by Shannon O'Connell. Now, on this card, she's the third fight on an 11-fight card. Deep down, buried at the start of the prelim card. Doesn't sort of show me that they're suddenly investing a lot in Jazzy Parr, and I suppose it makes sense when you look at the opponent. 9-9 from Thailand, been knocked out 5 times. You don't often see a female get knocked out, well, many knockouts anyway, let alone 5 times. So I'm disappointed in that one, especially when you've got Shannon O'Connell. And I'm not just saying this because of my involvement with Shannon and she's a friend and everything like that. It's not because of that. I'm looking at it for what it is. Shannon O'Connell beat Jazzy Parr. Wants the rematch. Has offered her the rematch. Said, let's do it. No Limit in the wisdom. And actually on that, knowing Shannon, she would have taken a haircut financially just to fight. That's just the way she goes. So it's nothing to do with money. So instead of having a really good, solid rematch between the girls, maybe it could be over 8 or even 10 rounds to put at the top of that card. I'm sure it'd be a hell of a lot more appealing than a couple of fights that they've actually got on the main card. They could have had that fight on there, build it up, and really not only give fight fans, another really good fight, but also really give a leg up to female boxing and have a really good female fight as a headliner on that card. Now, it could have been Goodman, Vaca, Garside, Bell, and Parr versus O'Connell. I think that would have really given this card a lot more points, I suppose, brownie points. And I just think it might have even swayed a few people like me who were like, no, I don't really want to get the card, but, will I or won't I? $50. I reckon there would have been a few that would have said, okay, yeah, that's not a bad card at all. I'm going to get that. So, I don't know. I just don't understand why they would have had that fight ready to go. Shannon would have been, well, she's always ready anyway, but to put Jazzy Parr, the third fight on an 11-fight card that no one will see, no one will care about, against an opponent that has literally no, again, you talk about brownie points, none at all. No like no cred, I suppose. Just an opponent who just gets beaten all the time, and especially by Aussies. She's been beaten, I think, 4 or 5 times by Aussies as well. It's just a nothing fight, and I don't think it does much for Josie Parr's career either. So I'm a little bit befuddled by that one. But the rest of the card, look, it is what it is. You can buy it or you don't. Wade Ryan and Monia Fathy should be, well, on paper, a good scrap, but he's just a spoiler, isn't he? So, but apart from that, it's good to see Charlie Kazzy on there, good young prospect. But the rest of the Ahmed Redder, you know, they could have even put him on the main card, just a bit of maybe a future opponent for Harry Garside to sort of showcase him, but he's buried down in the card as well. Anyway, I'm not going to get too stuck into it, but yeah, I'm just disappointed in the card. I've got no dramas. I've got to do X amount of pay-per-views. I've got no dramas with that. Put Sam Goodman on and in this fight. I know it's a comeback fight, so I'm not really stressed about that, but it's just the rest of the card. Pretty average, and especially not putting the O'Connell and Parr fight as part of that card is really disappointing as well. But anyway, I suppose it will all come out in the wash when they get the numbers for the pay-per-view. I don't think this is going to sell many. I really don't. Let's hope I'm wrong, because at the end of the day, they are still putting on these shows and doing a pretty good job, but yeah, I'm not feeling it as far as this card goes, unfortunately, so let me know your thoughts. But guys, that's going to do it. Hope you have a great Sunday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.